get going here. My name is Max Davis Johnson. I'm the CIO here at Boise State. Basically, we're going to get to our keynote speaker here, Amy Moll. She'll give a presentation. I'll have a few things I want to say. We'll give you some last-minute instructions. And then I want everybody who's participating to come down to the front of the room because we want to get your picture. We want to do a before picture, and then on Sunday we'll do an after picture. We'll see what we end up with.
Boy, there'll be a difference.
So, anyway, so I want to introduce Amy Moll. Amy is an educator. She's a teacher. She's a researcher. She also happens to be the Dean of the College of Engineering. So, anyway, take it away.
All right, so Max told me I had to be entertaining, engaging, what else? Something else.
Humorous.
Humorous. So, okay, so how many of you are computer science majors? Oh, yes. You just go home now. How many of you are not computer science majors? And keep your hands up. You will be by Sunday? Why not? Because you're IT majors.
Because I'm graduating in May.
It is never too late. IT is a good major. You might want to pick up a few, maybe computer science minor. Maybe. I'm not convincing you. I'm not leaving. You don't have to start going somewhere. Because basically those shots of like the really cool cafeteria and all the ping pong table, that was basically taken in the College of Engineering at Boise State. Right? Computer science majors? That's kind of what it looks like? Yeah, I know you got that fancy new micron building, but really, and we have a dog. I don't know if you can see her. So anyway, so think about it. But actually what I need more than that is I need your help. Because basically everywhere I go in the community, people give me a really, really hard time about us not graduating enough IT and computer science majors. And that's because I think there's a whole bunch of people that have no clue what you can do with a computer science or IT major. They don't know that you really can go out and help the world. That basically our healthcare in the future, our transportation in the future, everything we do in the future is going to depend on software. Now, those of you who are comp sci majors, do not admit to Dr. Jade that I said this out loud. Because I tell him that everything is dependent on materials. And he tells me that everything's dependent on software. Okay, so don't you ever tell him that I actually admitted that everything's dependent on software. But it is. And there's just a huge potential out there. IT majors, comp sci majors, and those of you other folks that are other majors but are into coding, that's terrific. You're going to make a huge impact on the world. But I need more of you. So I need you to talk to your little brothers and sisters, your nieces and nephews, go back to your old high school, your own children, and convince them that they might want to major in one of these areas. And tell me how I get more of them to do that. Back in like the 80s, actually, which is when I got my bachelor's degree, comp sci was actually about 35% women. And now it's like, across the nation, it's like 12%. So we actually scared women away in the course of the last 30 years. So that's really scary. I'm not sure how that happened or why that happened, but basically it used to be significantly more women than we scared of that. So. All right, I'm not going to keep you from coding any longer, but I appreciate your input. I'm over in the College of Engineering. Last name's Moll. You can find me really quickly. I usually have a dog with me, unless she's off with somebody else. But I would love to hear your ideas. I would encourage you to go out and do this stuff. Go back into your kids' school, in your high school, and figure out how we touch those teachers, how you do an after-school project. Work with the Boys and Girls Club. Work with Girl Scouts. Get the word out there. This is a great, I'm sure you can quickly find this video, but I think it's a great way to start people to see what's out there. So I appreciate if you would help me out. We'll have some kind of extra Appathon award if you get me a few more comp sci majors.
Yes, a bounty for...
Bounty. Bad. But thanks a lot. Maybe I'll come back on Sunday and see if you're still wearing the same clothes. I'm going to be outside all weekend. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be out playing outside. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Back to you, Matt.
how many people from this participated last year and are here still?
Woo-hoo.
All right.
They must, the last year's crew must not have very much fun. They didn't come back.
Maybe they graduated, maybe they
Oh, they got jobs, they got
jobs.
jobs.
Amy,
Yeah.
Amy, we actually doubled our numbers. We had 35 students last year, we have 65 this year.
So, just like last year, you participated, obviously, hopefully you learned a few things. We in OIT and at Boise State, we learned a lot from you guys last year. And so I want to go over that briefly, what we learned. So one thing we learned is that coffee, energy drinks, and pizza, combined with focused effort, you can make great things. Now, certainly you don't want to do this all the time, but when you need to, you can. We did learn from that. Also, I think it reminded us the value of teamwork. You guys had teams, you had to divide up tasks, you had to collaborate, you had to rely on others to complete their tasks, so you could bring them together for the finished product. Again, it is a lesson for us at OIT and university that you do need to rely on the person next to you. It showed us agile development concepts in action. The idea that you had a small amount of time to develop a list of features, typically in agile development, which I think a lot of you are familiar with, you have this concept of sprints. Again, you learn from that. And in fact, we were talking about it, certainly adopting agile methodologies in our own development practices. We do that now. Our web teams, our mobile app team, we go through daily scrums, and that's exactly what we do. We do sprints in 4-week cycles. We have certain feature sets we need done in those 4 weeks, but we've adopted what some of the stuff that was you guys used last year when you were here. One thing we really learned, it's okay to try new things and think big. We had one team last year that was trying to write a new LMS system to replace Blackboard in a weekend. So, and some of you that have used Blackboard understand there's not a lot there, so maybe it could be done. But at the same time, they were thinking big. And also we had several teams last year that had never actually developed an Android app, but they were learning it on the fly so they could actually develop an Android app. You guys were not afraid to try new things, and you were thinking big. And that's something we need to do more often, because a lot of times we try to stay in our little comfort zone. We don't want to stretch, but it's something that we as an organization and a university need to look at. Oh, maybe I did. Okay, get that slide yet. Oh, anyway, I left one out. So, if you're going to develop for students, you need to use students. And I think, we learned that. In OIT, we probably have 15 students that actually work in development for us. They work on the web team, they work on our WordPress team, they work in our BI group, they work on our mobile team. And a lot of what they're working on is applications for students. So, if any of you guys are looking for a job, working here on campus, flexible hours, great people to work with, we don't necessarily we have bicycles that you can ride around the campus. We have Xboxes that you can use during your break.
We don't have a dog.
We don't have a dog. But anyway.
But we come steal yours.
But, so, these two guys here, David Lentz, talk to him. He'll be here for Moll Appathon. And Troy, that's what Troy looks like, not that one. Up here front, he'll be here too. Look those guys up. We'd love to talk to you, and perhaps we can work something out. But the idea is students are not only, they're a key part of what we're doing going forward as far as what we're trying to develop. What else did we learn last one? Have a passion for what you do. I think, there's, you can teach, I said this many times to OIT staff, we can teach tools, we can teach techniques, process, but you can't teach passion. And certainly, I think the reason you're here, you have a passion for this. The reason you participated last year, you have a passion for this. We had several student developers last year that participated, worked all weekend. I came in 8 o'clock Monday morning. They were there already working on what they needed to. And they had already worked all week. That was a passion. And in fact, we ended up hiring those 2 developers full-time in our organization. So I think certainly that speaks a lot. And actually, these 2 developers are going to be responsible for this by Boise State Mobile, which we release in 3 weeks through the App Store and the Android Marketplace. So again, a lot of that was driven from the Appathon. So thank you. I'm really excited about what we can learn this year. So I thank you for that. So a couple last minute things I want to talk a little bit about before we break and head up to 2:13. I know this is probably the last thing you're thinking about right now, but on Sunday, we're asking you to do a presentation of your app. We have a lot of teams this year. We have probably almost double the number of teams we had last year. And you have 5 minutes to present and sell. The key word is sell your app. So you can sell it however you want to do it. There's an expectation that you demo your app. So in 5 minutes, it's not a lot of time. So you have to think ahead. You have to organize. You want to wear a tie, do whatever you need to. You'll have entrepreneurs in the audience. The judges will be in the audience, and you're selling your app to them. You're trying to tell them why it's cool, what are the technical merits of it, and then show them what it does. So keep that in mind.
What tools are we going to have to show our app? Are we going to have like a projector? Or...
Okay, so we'll be in this room. And so the timing of the app, you guys all remember this is daylight savings time, so we have 1 less hour. So keep that in mind. Also, we're asking you to be done with your apps by 11 o'clock. We expect that you turn them in by 11, give or take a few minutes. But from 11 on, this room will be open, and we will have different plugins for your device. And if you can't figure out something to plug in and project, we have this document cameras here that can project the phone to the screen. So we suggest that you come in, you practice. We'll have some people here to assist you so you understand how it's going to project and how it's going to demo for you. So presentation, I did want to talk a little bit about that. From a last minute standpoint, I think you guys should have all received an email this morning with somewhat instructions. But I do want to review a couple things from that, and then don't worry, we'll get out of here pretty quick. I can actually read through what I'm missing here. So I did mention we lose an hour, the 11 o'clock submission date. 213 upstairs is where we're going to be located. That'll be the headquarters. That's where the food will be. We will always have somebody in there if you have any questions. The building will be locked from 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, both nights. We will have, and if you're coming in and out, you're welcome to come out anytime. Remember, the only thing we ask is that you do all your coding in this building. We will have a security guard at the door. You'll need to use the entrance over here on this side of the building to come in. We'll have raffle tickets when you go upstairs to get your, you sign in, you'll get your t-shirts, you'll pick your room, you'll need to pick a time between 9 in the morning on Saturday and noon. We're sort of going to have a check-in with some of our development staff here in OIT. One is just sort of get an idea where you're at, sort of understand what you're trying to do, and maybe offer some advice too, and just want to see if you're stuck on something, see if we can help you with progress. That little check-in will also be a little bit part of the judging criteria that will be passed on to the judges. So we'll ask you to sign up for a 15-minute slot somewhere in that time frame. 9 in the morning on Saturday, 2 to noon. As I mentioned, we have a lot of teams. We have 22 teams signed up. And we don't necessarily have 22 rooms that will be available scattered throughout. So we have classes tomorrow morning and some classes on Sunday morning. So you may have to share a room. Like for instance, this room will be available. It's feasible to get a couple different teams, 2 or 3 teams in here to work. So you just have to be a little bit sensitive to some of the logistics here on this. Judges should be here about 11:30. We're going to identify the judges. They'll have name tags that say, "Be nice to me, I'm a judge." I would encourage you to talk to them, to mingle with them, to just go up to them, "Hey, you want to know about my app?" And they'll say, "Sure," and then you can talk to them about what you've developed, and hopefully that will lead to some other conversations. The judges, majority of them are from outside of Boise State. They're involved in the tech community here. It's an opportunity to make some good contacts, not only now, but also potentially in the future when you're looking for gainful employment. Okay. So, at any time, you're leaving, you want an escort to your car because some of you may be coming and going late at night. Just come up to 213. We'll make sure we get somebody to escort you to your car if you have any concerns there. So we have a saying in OIT. We have lots of sayings in OIT, but one of them is don't make heroes. In other words, don't make situations, don't make things where you have to have somebody come in to be a hero to make it work. It doesn't mean we don't want heroes, it just means we don't want to create situations where we have to be heroes. But we do have a hero here today, Karen Toon. If it were not for Karen, we wouldn't have this space, we wouldn't have food, we wouldn't have t-shirts, we wouldn't have judges, we wouldn't have volunteers. Basically, none of this would happen if not for Karen. So, you get a chance, tell her thank you today, or tomorrow, or Sunday, because she'll be here. So,
Max, the other thing I can think of is parking.
oh, parking. In your email, you should have had a code to use the garage over here. So, feel free to use it. It only works for the weekend, though.
And you only need it if you do not have a BSU parking permit. If you've got a general or reserved, we've made arrangements, you can park over there without any problems. So, it's only if you don't have a permit.
Okay, so before everybody leaves the room to go upstairs, I'd like all the participants to come down here. We're going to take a before picture, and we'll get an after picture.